Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to the Bible Study Minute. Today we're taking a look at the book of Micah. So we're taking a look at chapter 1 and chapter 4, verse 6 through the end of chapter 5. And what we see in the book of Micah is really no different than what we've seen in the rest of the prophets that we've read so far. Basically, it is a message of God's coming hand of judgment upon Israel because of their continued disobedience and rebellion against him. So if we go back to the book of Deuteronomy, especially chapter 8, we see that there are blessings for obedience and curses for disobedience. And basically, God was outlining for Israel what was going to be the plan once they got into the promised land, so the land of Israel. And once they got into this land, they were to continue to walk in obedience to the Lord and basically all the commandments that they were given in Exodus 20, which were repeated in the book of Deuteronomy for this new generation. If they obeyed the Lord's commands, then they would find blessing and prosperity. But if they chose to walk in idolatry and rebellion, then there were a whole series of curses that they were going to face. And these curses are what these prophets are prophesying to them. And so this is what we see in Micah. And in particular for Micah, he's telling the people of Israel that Babylon is going to come in and take them, destroy Israel, and take them off into exile. But that would be a tragic end, and it doesn't end there. Because of God and who he is, he always gives them a message of hope, even with his hand of discipline. So what he does is he gives them a prophecy of a coming king and ruler who's going to come from Bethlehem, who is going to reign over Israel and judge rightly in all of this. And he's also going to be one who defeats their enemies. And when you look at this, you can understand why when we get to the New Testament that people are looking for the Messiah to be a certain way, to be a political ruler who's going to destroy their enemies. But they kind of forget what we've taken a look at in Isaiah chapter 53 and the picture of the Messiah that we're given there, who is taking away sin and iniquity. So there's a fine balance of trying to understand exactly who this Messiah is and what his purpose is and how everything's going to line up. So what we see here in Micah is that we're given this picture of a Messiah who is going to reign and rule and defeat Israel's enemies. So that's the picture that we have here. So it is a message of hope, a hope of restoration and giving them the security that they need to know that even though they're going off into exile in Babylon, that God is going to restore them. He's going to put a ruler over them who's actually going to keep them in the land and actually have their territory spread much further than what they had anticipated. So that's what we see here. And our encouragement today from this is really taking encouragement in the Lord, knowing that even when he has a hand of discipline upon us, that he still shows us love, shows us grace. And that's something that we can take away. And even for those of us who are parents, that's something that we can take away for our own parenting, that we need to be more loving and gracious even when we are disciplining our children. And just continuing to point us to the Messiah, Jesus Christ, because that's who these prophecies are pointing to. So that's all I have for now. Until next time, grace and peace.